know, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk. We're a little bit late, guys. Semper Gumby, right? Always flexible. It is Wednesday morning. I'm just getting into the day, and obviously this video wasn't ready, so when you see it, you see it. I don't know, 9, 10, something like that. It's the holiday season, fellas, and I'm in the middle of a remodel, so I have a bit of a this old house and money pit going on right now. Yesterday I tried to, yesterday I tried to get up and going with some videos, and I was probably 3 minutes into this particular one, and the tile saw kicked off, and I just realized that there's no way to do that while the workers are here. So I have a few minutes here in the morning. We're going to go ahead and be flexible, right? We're going to be flexible. Got Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow. That'll be awesome. And then after that, we're burning ourselves into the holiday season, especially in the world of tanks, with the Christmas boxes and all that stuff coming up probably around December 6th. That being said, I am planning on doing the tankers, helping tankers this year. I'll get another video out, but just wanted to go ahead and warm you up to the idea right now. Donating money, I'll take that money, and then we will turn that around and we will buy boxes. So we're, not an idea of trying to make a life-changing event for somebody, like buying them a house or a car or something, but it's the holiday season, so let's spread a little bit of cheer to some people, players that you might know that might need a little pick-me-up, right? Maybe can't afford the boxes or could really use a little Christmas cheer in the season. All right, cool. Flexibility. Let's get going. Vertstab IA rammer. I'm running my Lorraine 50T. This is a tank I am loving to hate. It's interesting in the 100 battle challenges. I play 100 battles. Some tanks I really get to like. Some tanks I really love to hate. Only a couple I just absolutely despise. Not very many. What is it about this thing and flexibility? Well, it's a heavy, but it's not particularly hard in terms of armor. So I've played it, as I've noted multiple times, I played it in the past more as a heavy. I am clawing my way above 50%, I believe. I do have it one marked. But I tend to find myself in trouble when I attempt to be just the pure heavy, right? Getting into the brawl, doing the side scrapes. It doesn't side scrape. The whole armor is butter. The turret is okay. It's got this relatively large hatch on it. Not massive, but still hittable. And it's kind of strange because it's one of these really long turrets. You know, when you turn these really long turrets, they tend to stick out from cover and things. So it's just, there's a lot of things going on with this tank. And it looks a lot like the super heavily armored tech tree versions as far as the shape. So you might then be drawn into playing it like those, but that is not this tank. So he has to be flexible. And I've had some more success where I've kind of, all right, let's go to good places to get shots. But not places where I'm going to get into a big brawl, right? Now, this is a heavy corner. I do have a bit of my armor sticking out here, but it's not much. And I know I've got a nice tall turret and a decent turret, so I can probably poke around this little bit of terrain right here and minimize the amount of exposure that I have. I did not want to go up here onto the flats because this thing is so tall, plus the hatch on it, and the turret's not great. Also, oh, nope, they do not have arty. Actually, that would have been a 1+ in the favor of going up into this area, kind of like the STBs are doing right here, and working this little ridge because there's no arty to hit us. But I just felt like at that range with this hatch, with the turret not being that fantastic, with it being the big oblong guy, anytime I turned it, I'm giving a flat plate to people. It just felt like not the right place to go. So I'm going to come down here and try to support the team. Also, too, in addition to, I noted the 3 UDES 15/16s, and those were going to be a nightmare up there. Plus, they had an AE Phase 1, a Centurion 7-1. They just had a lot of tanks that are very strong in that position. And since there is no artillery, they're going to be doing what you see right here. They're using that famous Swedish gun depression right there, the hydraulics thing going on. And there, I tried to challenge that thing with its decent armor and its great gun depression, and I lose that challenge, right? I did 387, he did 450. Awesome. So I'm going to be a bit patient right here. This isn't looking great, but I just can't push up. My problem is I've got the 252U, the T26E5 sitting over there. So I punish him. He wants to come around and peek, makes a mistake. That's the kind of mistake I need to try to avoid with my tank, right? While he's got good armor, the side of it's not very good. That's pretty amazing that he hit me. I probably shouldn't have stood in there because I wasn't reloaded. Bit lucky catching him out and not paying attention, but I'm He's sort of trying to work on the STBs, the Leopard, and the ST62. So I'm just being, as best I can, opportunistic right here, right? Now, with another tier 10 or tier 9 heavy, this is a tier 9, with one that has more armor, I might be up there doing more brawling, but I just can't afford to do it. So unfortunately, I'm a tier 9 heavy who's kind of sitting back here playing peekaboo like a medium might do. Good news is my team is doing pretty well, keeping these guys from really using their hold down capability too much. We're up in hit points. The enemy team is not working this corner. One of the things that the blue team has going against it is their buddies over here, the 252, the T26. These are tier 8s all sitting over here, other than the Minotauro, I think, is over there maybe. Looking at the wrong side. It's one of the TD, the Vipera. If they pressured this corner a little better, then they wouldn't have to worry about me coming around and adding another angle. One of the reasons they're not able to do that is we've got the E77 and the Lorraine over here on this corner. The ST has this corner. So if you look at this, we have the angles on this particular spot, right? We have angles in here. I have angles here. They're not able to use this corner like I can because these dudes got them pinned down. So this is probably right now the big linchpin to how we have more angles than these guys and are able to have a few more options. You do have to be careful. Teams will get a little overconfident on this map when they get into this particular position and start to push in and get farmed, because it is not easy. The AE phase 1 looks like maybe he wants to try to start changing that situation just a little bit, but he doesn't actually come around the corner yet. I'd love to close down this 15-16. This dude comes out. Oh geez. Lucky on my part, kind of lucky on his part. So we both slap each other, but I put more damage on him. I think he actually loses his mind and pushes around the corner. Yeah. And dies, which is very helpful to the team. Thank you very much. We've got 3 of them. Now this dude's going to come around the corner. What are you doing? This is not a very good player with the AE. It's a great tank for that position. I don't know why he's coming up so high on the terrain right there. And I also don't know why the ST charged in there. I guess he was trying to get to that low spot and maybe start using his turret. But that was doomed to fail with the 7-1. And that just, I don't know. I guess he felt badly that the T26 E5 had jumped in there and given us a solid advantage. So he decided to give up one of our tier 9s. Or 10s, actually. Yeah, tier 10. That is the new Clan Wars tank. I guess it wasn't really Clan Wars, whatever the clan event was. Like, I'm curious. I'm looking at this A phase 1. See how I'm kind of zooming out? Like, what is this guy doing? Okay, that's what he's doing. He continues to give me the front of his tank right there. Looks like he's trying to take on the STB1. It's pretty interesting, actually. People do sleep on the STB1's turret a little bit, thinking that it is... this guy's just unreal. Thinking that it's not as good as it is. It's actually pretty darn good. Not amazing, but good enough to do some of this. You can see that they've lost some hit points, but they haven't been just absolutely wrecked. So we got them 5-2. There's nothing else. If you look at the rest of the map, there's nothing else going on. A little bit disappointing that there's so many dudes at cap. We're actually fairly evenly matched here, if not a little bit outnumbered until we killed a few of them in here. But it's certainly even. They've got some guys camping as well. Unfortunate for them. Would really like to see things like the E50, the CC Mark II come out here and kind of help us. I don't know. This guy, I guess he decided he wanted to try to take me on. He kind of had the idea of the hold down idea with his turret, but unfortunately I don't think he realized how much of his hull he was exposing when he came up and over that. That's just one of those things, fellas, if you don't know that, and sometimes it's hard to know, everything about what the terrain's doing. You got to play the game a lot before you kind of see that. But I will say this, if you've been punched in the face 3 or 4 times, you probably know not to show your face, I think. If the gloves are down here and you keep taking shots to the face, get the gloves up. Try that. Just give it a shot. See what happens. Or doesn't happen. I don't quite have enough depression here. I wanted to push, but that is very tempting when you are rolling a team up. But if you look at it, we're ahead. We're in good shape. We're 8-4. But it's easy to lose a bunch of low hit point tanks, or even medium hit point tanks in my case, by pushing it up and over this ramp and having a bunch of campers down hither. Right? They have a gonk. I can see the 44-100 is not necessarily a factor. The char, But we are missing a WT and a Gonk. And the two of those can put a serious hurting, especially if the Centurion and the Udes can survive for any amount of time and keep us up high. There's a better way to do it. Good news is we just nuked one anyway. The Leopard sold out and got him. There's the WT. Surprise, surprise. He was waiting for that exact situation. Just going to push this Vipera. There we go. Notice his turret was looking at my buddy behind me back here, the E77. Take advantage of things like that. Pay attention to where they're looking and where your friends are. He was really just probably zoomed in on the E77. Different players are better at reacting to that. Sometimes they're actually looking at you even though their turret's looking the other way. You have to take the SA that's available to you. In that case, it looked to me like he was paying attention to the other guy. I might have taken a hit, but I was pretty sure I could close him out anyway. Did not close him out, unfortunately. That is a bit of a weakness on this tank. Its alpha is not as good as you might like. It's 400, which is, you know, you get a low roll, you're down in the 360s, that kind of thing. It's hard to close out tanks in this thing as a heavy with a 400 alpha at tier 9. A lot of your, I think it's going to take one shot, ends up taking two. So we got 3,900 damage. This is going to be an ace tanker. As I said, we were flexible with it. Watch this. This is a bummer. Oh, looks like I got into maybe the right wheel or something. I tracked him, I believe. Yeah, so at least I'll get assist out of it. We'll add that to a whole 108 assists, so 3,900, 108 assists. So you got to be flexible. Pay attention to the map. Pay attention to the enemy setup. Pay attention to how things have gone for you in the tank. Sometimes that's a bit of a weakness for me as well. I have a lot of ideas about how things should be played. And generally, I'd say a lot of those are pretty solid in terms of being best practice or the best way to win. But that's not always the case for each match. So you got to watch out when you're doing things like that with stats or plans, etc. There's the best practice that works the most times, and obviously it has exceptions. Then there's the exceptions that work sometimes, but that is not the best practice. And mistaking the two or mixing them up can at times be problematic. But in the real world, you want to sort of look at both and go which one applies at this particular point. Now, I forgot about this part. We're going to come in here. We're going to try to track him. So I did auto aim, but when I saw where it was aiming, I went, maybe I'll track him. Didn't quite get it. And this tank, in terms of speed, you notice how slow I was going up the hill. It does struggle a little bit with its power to weight. Once it gets up to speed, it's quite fast indeed. You notice I just came zinging down the hill. Also, I know Gonks, which, because I went through the 100 battle challenge on most of these tanks, if not all of them by now, the Czech TDs, their hull traverse is miserable. So he's getting circled by a heavy. Albeit a heavy with pretty decent mobility. We're just auto-aiming. This is super interesting. This is auto-aim. Look at the center of mass that the game picks for that thing. This makes me think, and I'm not sure, I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% sure exactly how it does. I need to read it again, and it may take into account the superstructure, like this portion of it, as opposed to the whole tank. I'm going to have to look at that. Because you would think center of mass of this tank, well, there's a difference between center of mass and center, right? The center forward to back would be here-ish. What, this wheel right here? Or between these two wheels, maybe, depending on the length, yeah? Also, there's some angulation going on, but that looks to be shifted forward a bit. So center of mass, the whole mass with the superstructure, that shifts the center of this thing forward here, right? Like a CG, I guess you might say, center of gravity, center of mass. That must be what it's doing. And that can get you some interesting aim points on a lot of tanks, depending on their shape, especially TDs that have these forward compartments or rear compartments. So when you auto-aim things like this, it's working out for me right now because he's got such a big, flat side. So pay attention to where the little crosshairs are, because that's where your shot's going. See how miserable his rotation is? Just awful. He's doing a decent job trying to scrape me off there, but he's also trying to fight multiple guys. And we shut him down. Look at that, we crank it up to 5,418 towards the end. Why? Because it has decent speed, and I pushed in, and I had maintained enough of my hit points by not going full heavy mode up there. Because you could be potentially forgiven if you looked at this setup and go, oh man, I'm a tier 9 heavy. There's a lot of mediums on the other team. I should be able to go in there and get some serious brawling going on. Well, that wasn't the case because this tank isn't that. That's not that guy. He's not that guy, right? And it has taken me. I was this guy with the hands down here with this thing for 80 odd battles. I just kept trying to stuff that square peg into the round hole, and I kind of knew it. I know we talked about it, but it's just when you sit down, you've played the game as long as we have. Sometimes you sit down, and you just start going. You're like, I'm in a heavy. Let's go do heavy stuff. You got to think about it if you want to improve your results. You really do. Well, there you go. Flexibility. That is all I've got. Semper Gumby. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you on Thanksgiving. See you.